Hi guys, in today's guide I want to bring you my personal main character and favorite character in all of Tekken 7, Gigas. Gigas has been my main for about a year and a half now, and he is the character that I've been able to push to the highest rank I have ever had with a Tekken character in the online ranked mode of the Japanese arcades. Unfortunately, Gigas has become known as a little bit of a low tier character as of late, which I think is somewhat justified. He is a lot stronger than he is given credit for though, and much more importantly, I think he is one of the most fun and unique character designs in this game. And so I want to boost the popularity of Gigas in any way that I can, because I think we need to encourage the developers to make more characters like this. About his playstyle, if you have a look at Gigas' arms, you will find that they are very long, meaning that he has some of the best range of any character in the game. He will use this and some very powerful counter hit tools and gap closing tools to knock his opponent down and away and push them towards the walls. When Gigas is then pressuring his opponent against the walls, he becomes absolutely terrifying for a couple of reasons. He has a 10 frame block punisher that not only does a lot of damage but will actually wall splat the opponent, and he also has the very unique overkill throw where he will pick his opponent up and throw them into the wall, and if this connects it will do more damage than an entire combo in a single hit. The last thing that he is very known for is the fact that he has these charge up moves that will allow him to put his opponent in a massive amount of block stun and then collect a free mix-up between a very big mid and an unblockable high, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in more detail later. The last thing I want to mention about Gigas that you have to know is that he is one of those characters that has a very large hitbox, meaning that he doesn't necessarily move evasively very good. He's in that sort of family together with Jack and Kuma. I don't think it is as much of a detriment as it is made out to be. His backdash is still very usable, and you can use it to create whiff punishing opportunities with your very long range down 1, which is your main 15 frame whiff punishing launcher. But that's going to be it for the introduction of this character. We're going to jump over to the gameplay right now, and I'm going to talk more about his moveset. I just want to really once more recommend this character because he's so much fun to play for you. If you're not necessarily, a very offensive sort of button mashing kind of player, but you like to sort of take your time and place your hits much more deliberately and methodically and learn some frame data and really watch your opponent, if you're that kind of guy, then I can't recommend Gigas enough. He is absolutely amazing to play. So yeah, we're going to jump over to the gameplay right now. I'll see you guys in just a couple of seconds.
Okay, so where to start with Gigas? Well, up until this point, all the guides that I've done, I've started by giving you some mid pokes, and I want to do the same thing in this guide. Down forward 1 with Gigas is not a standard down forward 1. It is a little bit different, but it is still very good. A normal down forward 1 from another character will be a 13 frame mid poke that is usually somewhere around -2 on block. Gigas is actually 14 frames, meaning it is a little bit slower, but more importantly, it is actually -7 on block. I'm just going to double check that's true. Yeah, it's no, -6 on block, I should say. That means that the frame disadvantage is kind of big, and you should not chain these moves together and just keep spamming them. You can use it for a mid poke, but if it gets blocked, you need to kind of chill out. But the advantage that the move has is it has really good range and above average damage. It even gives you a spark for bonus damage on counter hit. As you can see, 20 damage, very good. This move is plus, I think, 7, yeah, +7 on hit, which is super good. So a great mid poke for long range, but kind of disadvantageous on block. So you have two other alternatives that I want to mention for mid poking here. The first one that I think is really good is the down forward 3, which is this move. This is if you really want a 13 frame mid poke. This is what I recommend. Unfortunately, this is actually -9 on block, which is kind of massive, but you are safe. Just be aware of the minus frames, but this is what you have if you really want to get something out at specifically 13 frames for mid. But I think you have a better option than both of these tools, and what I really want to recommend is actually the down forward 4. This is my favorite mid poke with Gigas. It comes out at 14 frames just like the down forward 1, but what is good about this move is that it is only -3 on block, so it's like your most advantageous mid poke. and the one that you can use and not necessarily lose your momentum when you're poking mid. So yeah, you got the down forward 1 for range. If you want something really fast, you got the down forward 3, and then you got the down forward 4 as your like overall best options. And I mean, these moves have these really good extensions that we're going to talk about more later. But for now, that's your main mid poking. Now, to talk about jab strings, you have two main options with Gigas. First of all, his normal one jab is absolutely amazing, one of the best ever, because it has a great range. And it is just, if you know about one jabs, you know, you got to use them to open up offense, and Gigas is especially good because of the range. He can use it from afar, he can run in and open up offense with it. Very, very good. The one by itself is +8 on hit, which is super good, and it actually gives you that classic +1 on block. So on block or hit, you've established frame advantage with this when you use it, so just a massive, massive tool for opening up offense, and like I said, good range. Now, what's really interesting about Gigas' 1-2 is that this will normally be just like a 1-2 little jabby string, but with Gigas, it's a huge knockdown move. This is Gigas' 10 frame block punish, and it is so powerful and so good that it is actually what I use for 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 frames when I block punish. 31 damage, a big knockdown, and as I'm about to show you, even gives you a wall splat. So very, very, very good move. Just be aware that it is punishable on block. You are at -14, so you cannot be launched by most characters, but you will typically eat kind of a big punish, so be careful. But yeah, this is great. It's mainly like a get off me kind of panic move. Like you see, we're playing against Josie right now, and characters like Josie, Horon, Nina, who really like to just keep pressuring you and stay in your face. If you're just patient and you wait until you see an opportunity where you think you can get 10 frames out, do 1-2, you're gonna get good damage, knock your opponent away from you, create space, and all of a sudden you're at, you know, this kind of range here where Gigas is actually very comfortable because he has these great gap closing moves. So yeah, 1-2 is super good. But if you want a less sort of balls to the wall, more like kind of classic 1-2, or no, not 1-2, it's a 2-1, but a kind of jab string, you have 2-1, which is this move, and it's just like a normal 10 frame jab string that is less sort of wild and crazy and less punishable than the 1-2. The interesting thing about 2-1, and the reason I use this move, is that you can press 3+4 after it to go into golem stance. And I think we're going to take this opportunity to actually quickly cover golem stance. It is one of Gigas' stances, but it is actually really simple, and I think it's going to be like a quick thing to go through. So, golem stance can be gone into by pressing down, down, back 3+4 like this, which you're almost never going to do. You're mainly going to do it out of a move. You can do it after 2-1 by pressing 3+4, and you can do it after 4-2 down 1 by pressing 3+4. When you're in golem, you have two moves. And let's look at the frame data for these moves. Yeah, you have the Golem 1, which is a big high launcher, and the best thing about this launcher is that it actually gives you +5 on block. And like I've told you, Gigas has really good counter hit moves, and so if opponents don't know that you're actually at +5 after this, they're very liable to get hit by a counter hit move after that. The other option you have is the Golem 2. The Golem 2 is a big chunky mid, so this is your mix-up for the high, and it is -5 on block, so completely safe. So both of your options out of Golem are very, very good, and I recommend using this move or this stance for setting up mix-ups. The one thing to note about Golem is that you should only ever try to mix your opponent up if you hit with the move you go into Golem with. So if you hit with 2-1, you can mix them up from Golem, or if you hit with 4-2 down 1, you can mix them up with Golem. But if you get blocked, it is too dangerous because you're at too much of a frame disadvantage. So what I recommend you do is this cool new thing that they gave him going into Fated Retribution. I'm pretty sure he didn't have it before, at least. But what you do is you just press up back, and he does this cool little jump back. And this cancels the stance. It gives you much more favorable frames, and it creates a lot of space. So what will happen a lot of the time is like you'll get blocked, go on a golem and jump back, and if your opponent does a move that is too slow, that it's not going to be able to catch up with Gigas, they'll just whiff, and then you launch them with down 2. So on block, I recommend jump back with golem, and on hit, you know, do a combo, right? So yeah, super good, but kind of a fringe thing, so we're gonna leave it for now. The next thing I want to talk about after jabs and mid pokes is I want to talk about what I believe to be Gigas' most important move and most kind of powerful move, at least in my opinion, and it's his forward 2 string. Now, this forward 2 string is kind of like the only string that Gigas has that is has a lot of extensions and sort of branches out in a lot of ways. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about this now, but just bear with me if you think it sounds difficult. This is like the most difficult thing that Gigas has. And if you can sort of get this into your head and you're remembered how to use this, sorry, I'm just pouring myself a glass of water because my throat is getting really sore. If you can get through this and learn how to use this string, everything else is going to be really easy going forward. So just bear with me for now. There we go. So, forward 2 is a very long range, high power counter hit launcher. And what's good about it is that it comes out at 16 frames, meaning it's very fast, but it is actually -9 on block, so it's completely safe. This means that when you're spaced out with Gigas, you can see Gigas' pathetic backdash here, by the way. That's his backdash cancel, not great, but yeah, it works. You can use this to fish for counter hits with Gigas, and if you get them, you get really good damage. Like, we can just do a simple combo with Gigas here. Yeah, that's the ground pound combo counter ends, so you can't see the full combo damage, but that is 100% a true combo, and it does like 70 damage, even off like a small bootleg combo like that. So super good, and you fish for counter hits with this, right? Problem being, you know, it is high, so don't get it ducked. And then you have a couple of extensions, and this is where it gets really interesting. So the first extension is forward 2 forward 1. What forward 2 forward 1 is, he basically does the exact same move again with the other arm. You're still at -9 on block, so it's very similar. The main difference being that forward 2 forward 1 does not need a counter hit to launch. So if I'm out here and I just hit with the forward 1 right there, as you can see, I get the launch even on normal hit. The reason this is good is you're doing a lot of 4-2 and you're looking for that counter hit and fishing for that counter hit, and when your opponent's used to that and they want to try and come in after the 2 because they think that, you know, there's a whiff punishing opportunity or something, you just finish the string with the forward 1 and you get a launch, which is super good. Problem again being that, you know, a big telegraphed high into another big telegraphed high like that is liable to get ducked. But you have a mix-up. You have a mid-extension to make it better. And this move is the one we mentioned earlier. It's 4-2 down 1. That's your mid-extension for the mix-up. It's really good. And if you press 3+4, again, you can go into golem and you can apply a golem mix-up. So this is the other main tool for using golem mix-ups. But that's your mid mix-up. It's really good, and I absolutely love using these two options to keep my opponent guessing, and a lot of the time set up very powerful launches. So you have one more option in terms of extensions off of your 4-2. The first one is your 4-2 1. Mind you, this is 4-2 forward 1, and this is 4-2 neutral 1. So if you do no directional command and press the 1, he does this little jab instead. And this is just like a standard little less risky version of this, where you just do a jab instead. The jab itself is -3, I'm pretty sure, on block, and gives you, what is it, a -3 on block, and I haven't put down in my notes what it gives you on hit actually, but a little frame advantage on hit. -3 on block. And then the reason that this jab extension is interesting is that you can press one more time and he will do this 3-hit string. And this is just kind of that string, you know, that all characters have that you never finish, but then every once in a while you do, and your opponent isn't used to it, so they press a button and you get in and you open them up and get a knockdown. And it's just that, you know, every once in a while kind of string with Gigas. And I think it's really good. It's very liable actually to get you hits because your opponent is not used to seeing, you know, long 3-hit strings from you. The final extension, the 1-1-1, is a mid, which is good, but it is -12 on block, meaning that you are going to eat a somewhat significant punish if your opponent blocks it. But yeah, that's it for this string. You have mainly the forward 2 that you're looking for the counter hits with. You can do the forward 1 extension for another launcher. Mix that up with a down 2. Remember, you have the option on hit to go in gollum and use a mix up, or the 4-2-1-1 for this somewhat useful string that I guess I should also mention can be used for floor breaks and combos. But that's it for the 4-2. It's his kind of like biggest, most branching string, and if you got through this, everything else is going to be very intuitive and very easy. So don't worry about it. Now I want to go in and talk a little bit about lows with Gigas. I'm just going to have some water here. So, Gigas' main low, and probably my favorite low in the entire game, I think it is absolutely crazily amazing, is Gigas' down 3. This is a great move. The reason it is a great move is, first of all, it is super fast. It comes out at 16 frames, which is very, very fast for a low poke. Your opponent is never going to be able to see and visually react to this and block it, so if it gets blocked, it is because you used it too obviously. Your opponent predicted it. They did not react to it, they predicted it. So that's something to keep in mind. This not only has great range, you know, it'll hit from like out here kind of comfortably. It also has decent tracking and will hit your opponent on the ground. So all around super useful tool. Also means that it's very decent for oaky. Now the next thing that is so good about this move is that it has this amazing extension, down 3-2. Down 3-2 is a mid, and that's good because if your opponent ducks and tries to block this low, you can like hit them with this mid extension right after. So they block and they think they're going to do a punish, so they press a button, and then they are very liable to actually get hit by the 2 extension, which is super, super, super good. It makes the low a lot more safe than it would be normally. This is not only like safe and super good, but it's also a natural combo on counter hit and gives you a pretty massive, honestly, 38 damage on counter hit. So I mean, just a all around amazing move. If your opponent stays on the ground after a knockdown and you want to apply oaky at the wall, you can actually do this move, and both hits will hit the opponent on the ground if they stay grounded. So great oaky tool, just great low, super good extension. The mid, I should say, is very, very safe for what it is. I think normally a move like this would actually be kind of punishable, but this gives you -10, and then it forces your opponent into full crouch, meaning that the only thing they could ever do to punish you is a down jab. Not only is a down jab a very small, not very significant punish to eat, your opponent has to know that they specifically need to do a down jab, and a lot of people do not know this, and so they're never going to be able to punish this string. It is super, super good, and I mean, even if you get down jabbed, it's a very minor thing, because it's kind of rare that you just keep getting this move blocked, right? But yeah, it's super, super good, and one of my favorite lows in the game. One thing I do as well is I use the down 3 by itself to set up throws, because it gives you a nice little frame advantage, and it just leaves Gigas standing at a very nice range right in front of his opponent, leaves them standing, and so it's a good throw setup. And we're going to talk about overkill later, which is Gigas' best throw, but like a down 3 and overkill at the wall is a very dangerous setup. So amazing low. And your main low poke. The other low that I want to talk about here is his down back 2. It's like a famous move for Gigas, and another move that he uses to set up throws. It is kind of famous for being a move that he has borrowed from Marduk in previous games, and that's why a lot of people thought that, you know, Gigas was going to be like a bootleg Marduk in this game, and he, you know, maybe he is kind of, but he's not Marduk. I mean, nobody's interested, I assume, but he is the foster father of Katarina, who was like captured and turned into like a biological weapon by, I think, the G Corporation in the story. But yeah, he's basically like a bio experiment kind of thing. But who cares? He's not Marduk. But this down back 2 is a super good, very long range, very good tracking, very high damage low. That crushes highs, so it's extremely useful. You just have to be aware that it is 23 frames to come out, meaning that this is a low that can be seen and visually reacted to by sharp players. and if you get this move reacted to and blocked, you are at -15, meaning a majority of the cast can actually launch punish you. So you can't use this move willy-nilly, but it is very, very good in my opinion. And this is another low that he has to hit opponents on the ground, so it's a good oaky tool. And like I said, another tool that he uses to set up throws. It's super, super good for setting up throws. So great move. On counter hit, you can get guaranteed stuff, which just makes it even better. If you're close enough, you can get another guaranteed down back too. But if you're at that kind of range that I am right now, as you can see, this does not connect. But if I'm super close like that, it will, and that gives you 40 damage. I think the optimal option that you have for damage is you have to do like a dash up. What is it? Down back 3. Sorry, down back 1+2. But yeah, you got to do a kind of like a clutch dash, and it can be a little bit inconsistent if you're not sharp enough. But if you get that follow-up, I think that is the best damage option that you have. But the option that I use and that I'm going to recommend here, that I just think is the overall most consistent and most comfortable to use, is just do a dash up back 4. Back 4 is Gigas' head stomp. It's just a stomp move. It's one of those great stomps that can come out even if your opponent is not already on the ground. As you can see, I can do it on a standing opponent. But yeah, it's really consistent. It gives you the 40 damage, and it's just really, really solid. So after a counter hit, I recommend the dash up back 4. If we go to the wall here quickly, this will actually give you the counter hit down back 4. It can actually give you a full combo. It becomes almost like a bootleg wall splat at the wall, which makes it very interesting and very good. And another thing that is super good about it is if you hit with this and then you do a normal wrench kick. Wrench kick, by the way, is Gigas' normal standing 4. That will actually break the wall and allow you to do a full combo downstairs. So this move is great at the wall. I mean, such a great move at the wall. You get okay, at the wall, people don't like to duck because most wall splat moves are mid, and so people are basically going to remain standing, and that empowers your lows because it means your lows aren't going to get blocked. Then this low becomes powerful because you know, it's less likely to get blocked, and then you use it to set up overkill, which is going to like basically take away half your opponent's life bar at the wall. We're going to talk about this more later, but just be aware that this low is super good, but punishable, and becomes even more powerful when you're anywhere near the wall. And that's going to be it for like the lows that I'm going to recommend, mainly down 3 and the down back 2. And then if you really need like a fast low poke that's going to crush highs, you have this very fast little down back 4. Not really super useful or anything, but you know, you can use it. And he has like a standard down 4 as well. But that's really it for lows with Gigas. What I want to talk about now, next, before we go into like combos and wall game, is we got to talk about back 2. So Gigas, when he has rage, he's famous for having this really good and dangerous rage drive. And what this is kind of like a version of a move that he gets off of his charged up back 2. So we're going to set Josie to guard here. Okay. Back 2 is this move that Gigas will do. It's just kind of a chunky mid that he has. But if he holds it down and charges it up like this and then presses forward, Gigas will go into his second stance that is known as Goliath. During Goliath stance, as you can see, if you look at Josie, she is at such a massive amount of block stun that Gigas can actually apply a free mix-up out of Goliath. The mix-up out of Goliath is Goliath 1 for a big mid, and then a Goliath 2 for the high. And this is interesting, and you need to know that normally a mid and a high cannot create a mix-up because both moves can be blocked while standing. But because the high is unblockable, the only way to get away from it is to duck, meaning that it actually creates a true mix-up with the mid. And this is great because both of these options will wall splat your opponent. When they hit normally, they will just give you, you know, a massive amount of damage and a knockdown. If we go to the wall quickly, I can just show you. wall. Yeah, so that's really good at the wall. And so this, the way you use this move is when your opponent is being defensive and you think that they're not going to like try and interrupt you or anything, they're mostly blocking, you can run up and you can charge up a back two to really like force them to play Tekken with you. You know, if they're just turtling and they don't want to participate, you use this and you get that free mix-up and it's super, super good. Not only that, if you look at Josie here, I will push her really far towards the wall. And if I create hesitation with this move and I don't want to do one of my Goliath stance mix-up, I can actually do this move into this move again. And I can walk Josie all over to the wall. And now I'm at, you know, a position where I'm very, very favored because Gigas does really well when he's pressuring against the wall. You have some other ways of going into this setup that I'm just going to mention quickly. For when you're a little bit more spaced out, you can use forward 3 too, and this is just like a long range mid that then goes into your back 2, but it's the exact same thing once the 2 actually comes out as the charge up back 2. As you can see, they even look the same. The other thing you can do is forward 4. I never use forward 4. I don't think like most people don't use forward 4 because I think back 2 is just like a more standard option. I haven't actually studied the frame data of forward 4 and compared it to back 2, which is something I guess I should probably do. But don't worry about charged up forward 4 for now. The only thing that is interesting about this forward 4 move is that from while standing, you have access to this move. And so if you want to use a Goliath setup from while standing, this is your option. This move is while standing 2, hold down, and then you charge up the 4. And then, as usual, you just hold 4 to go into the Goliath. But that's your option for like a Goliath mix-up from while standing. But it's kind of like fringe. Mainly when you use Goliath, it's because you're using the back 4, or sorry, the back 2 charged up. Or, what we're going to talk about now, when you're applying your Rage Drive. So basically what Gigas' Rage Drive does is it gives you this setup, but you don't have to hit with the charged up back 2. All you have to do is do this move when you're sort of spaced away from your opponent, and as you can see, Gigas sends out this kind of weird shockwave, and if this shockwave connects with the opponent, that will do the exact same thing as if you hit with the charged up back 2. I should say if you get the charged up back 2 blocked. So if you look at Josie, this weird shockwave will come out, and I have my Goliath mix-up. And so this is just when you're at the end of the round and you're in rage and you kind of want to go all in, like it's all or nothing. I'm going to gamble here on a mix-up and I'm going to do this, and it's super, super good and terrifying. The main thing obviously to be aware of is that the 1 is your safest option, because the 2, while it is unblockable, is a high, and so it can be ducked. And so most of the time, you know, your opponent is going to be scared of the high, and so they are kind of liable to duck. And so what I will do most of the time is I will just use the mid, because if my opponent ducks, I get that, but if they block it, at least I haven't gotten ducked and I'm not going to get launched. The final thing that I'm going to mention about this is that Gigas actually has kind of bad matchups when he plays against a character who has a good parry. Because when you do this Goliath setup and your opponent is just standing there and they have to eat the Goliath mix-up, what they can actually do is they can parry any punch you do. And so, you know, character like Jin, for example, or Leo can parry that, and so that's a like get out of jail for free option they have to counter this option. And so what you can do is you can just not do a move and allow them to do the parry, and then maybe try and whiff punish the parry or do some other sort of setup. Or what I recommend you do is instead of just doing your Goliath move right away, what you can actually do is you can wait and you can let Gigas walk further like that, and you get a delayed version of both of these moves. And so if they parry right there and then you wait and you do the delayed version, then they that will mess up their timing and not allow them to parry the Goliath mix-up reliably. And then also I should say that the delayed versions of these moves actually give you a little bit more damage. But that's just a note on parrying and Goliath. That's kind of important, and so if you're playing a character that has a parry, that's the main way of dealing with Goliath. And so the other thing you can do to deal with Goliath, obviously, is any kind of move that puts you in the air. If you're in the air when the shockwave from the rage drive comes out, it will not cause the stun. And so if you use the rage drive to go into Goliath and your opponent has done any kind of like airborne move, you will just walk up to them and they will just interrupt you, and you will lose. So be aware of that. And obviously there are characters like Eliza and Goki in this game who spend a lot of time in the air, so look at your opponent and try and hit with the shockwave thing after they've landed or when they're just standing on the ground. So that's enough about that. I think we've talked about most of what I wanted to talk about outside of like counter hits and combos right now. So right now we're going to go into some combo stuff with Gigas. I'm going to cut the video here quickly just because I need to just get a little bit of a break in between, but I'll be back in just a moment, so hang on and I'll see you in a second. Okay, so to talk about some combos and setups and counter hit stuff and then eventually wall stuff with Gigas, the first thing we need to talk about is down 2. Down 2 is your 15 frame block punisher, so this is your stand-in move for a hop kick or a normal down 4-2. You don't have that, but you have this instead, and it's very good because it has good range, so it's a good whiff punisher and it's a good block punisher, but it's minus 14 on block, so just be aware that you've confirmed that you're going to be able to hit with it, and don't let it get blocked too much because you will get punished. Now, in terms of standard combos with Gigas, you actually have a couple of different options, and so there are, people use their own like favorite option with him a lot. I'm going to show you mine. Yeah, let's actually start with my recommended option for a standard combo off of a standard combo with Gigas. This is what I will use, and then I will explain why. Okay, so this combo, what I did right there was I launched, and then I spun with forward 2, forward 1, which is this launching move that we talked about earlier. You then have to do a pretty deep run-up, which is the one inconsistent part of the combo where you need to practice a lot. So this run-up right here. But once you've learned that, you're going to get it super consistently. It's not hard. Then you do a up forward 3, which is this like jumping knee that he has. And then you finish the combo with down 3, 1+2, 1+2. Now, you saw that combo did not necessarily do a massive amount of damage, but it's decent enough damage. But what it does that is very good is that this string for a combo ender is very, very good in terms of wall carry. It will send your opponent at like a high arc, which is very likely to cause a good wall splat and allow you to wall combo, which is something that you love to do with Gigas. But then the other thing is that even if you don't get the wall, it gives you a lot of time when they're in the air to run up and apply oaky if you should happen to be in the open. So this is like my recommended standard option for like a combo with Gigas, and it is actually what most veteran Gigas players I've seen end up using for the most part. But the other options that you have that will give you like a little bit more damage is you can do this, which gives you like one more point of damage and is maybe a little bit more easy to execute, and that's launch forward 2 neutral 1, and then normal 1 jab, forward 1 2 for the spin, and then a running 2 for the finish. So neutral 1, jab, spin, run up, and 2. And that works, and it's good because the running 2 can give you a wall hit, and it can wall break and stuff, so it's a decent option. But it doesn't give you any kind of like wall combo or wall conversion opportunities, and not really any oaky. The next option I want to talk about is like if you're really new to Tekken and you want to play a character and just do like a very decent little combo and that you just cannot mess up. Check this out. You get 55 damage just off of a jab, a launcher into any kind of throw with Gigas. Any kind of throw you do, whether it's your overkill or a 1-2 or a 2 throw, it just leads into this air throw with Gigas, and it's a very decent little combo option actually. So super easy, and it's great to have an air throw. So that's an option you can use. But if you want to tack on a little bit more damage, like if I do this for example, and I like do a lot of jabs like that, and then I do the throw, as you can see I only get 40 damage because the scaling just goes into the toilet, and you never want to like, if do like a lot of like filler when you want to do this combo, but you have one filler option that you can do that will actually allow you to finish with the throw and get better damage. And what that is, you do the 4-2 empty 1 into throw, so it looks like this. And so as you can see, that gives you 51. So that's actually the highest damage option that we've shown you so far. Super easy, very good, but again, it gives you no like wall conversion opportunity and not really any oaky. But like in the open it is great, and this is also mainly what I use when I block a rage art with Gigas, because it does enough damage that it will definitely kill the opponent after a rage art. So it's just a fast way to finish people off. When you block something that you know is minus 15, you do this. Now we're going to show you the max damage option for combos with Gigas, and this is the best one, and this is what I use when I'm out in the open and there are no walls and I just want to maximize my damage. It's a little bit hard to do, so it takes a little bit of practice, but you can get it consistently. And so what it is, I'm going to explain before I do it actually this time. So you launch, you do a 4-2 empty 1 into a 4-2-1. 4-2-4-1 for the spin, and then you're going to do a tiny micro dash, and then you're going to do down 1+2 1+2, which is this ground pound finisher. This is going to give you, I think, 70 damage, so it's a big jump from like 56 or 57 damage with your standard combo all the way up to 70. So there is definitely sufficient reason to choose this option. But it is a little bit inconsistent and difficult to do, but we're going to try and show it to you now. Okay, one more time. Alright, so like I said, that final hit of the combo ender, that always ends, but this is a true combo. It is 54, and then as you can see, the last hit I did 16 damage, so it's a total of 70 damage, which is really good, and it's your like best option. But I say, for the most part, there is no reason not to stick with this because it's super solid. But this is like when you just need damage. One thing to note about this option is that this that spin that I'm gonna do again now because I messed it up. Oh, come on. That spin, as you can see, if you look at Josie's hitbox, it just barely connects, and this will actually not work. It will whiff if you do it on a small target. So it will not work on Ling Xiaoyu, and it will not work on Chloe. And so what you need to do instead on those characters is you just substitute the 4-2-4-1 spin move for down 4-2-1, which is this other spin move option that you have that hits a little bit lower. And so that will let the combo hit consistently, and you just sacrifice a few points of damage. So yeah. Wow, that was a lot of combos, but Gigas, you know, he's my main character, so I love talking about him, and he has a lot of good options. But I'm just going to tell you right now, learn how to do this, learn how to love this. It's not huge damage, but it is super solid and really good, and it's not going to do you wrong. And if we move forward a little bit, let's see if we can show you the good wall carry that it has. Okay, one more time. About here. Yeah, so really good, super solid option. That's down 2. The next launcher we should talk about is I guess down 3 1+2. This is really good. I talked about how this down 3 by itself is a good mid poke. This extension is a great mid launcher that gives you a little combo, and it's minus 15 on block, which means that it is dangerous. So you got to be careful not to get it blocked. But one thing you can do to make it a little bit safer is you can do 1+2 1+2. You know, this is his normal combo ender, like that. And if your opponent tries to punish the first extension, that part, they are liable to get hit by the final 1+2 hit. And so what good players will do against you to deal with this, if they're really good, is they will just stay blocking. They will wait for the final hit because they know that the final hit is a high, and then they will duck that. So that's a dangerous thing that you need to be aware of with the string. But it is a good little mid launcher, and the thing that is really great about it, the reason it is so dangerous, is that these first 2 hits are a natural combo on counter hit. So this means that your down forward 3 is actually a 13 frame counter hit launcher, which is very, very good. 13 frame counter hit launchers are rare, super good, it's very fast, and especially like it's a mid, so it's fantastic. So I really recommend this move. The way I use it is I use it as my bootleg hop kick, because I don't have a hop kick with Gigas, and so when I predict a low, what I will do is I will counter hit the low with this, because I predict the low, and then the low is obviously going to be slower than 13 frames, so I counter hit it with that, and then I get a launch. So it works when you're predicting a low. Say for example you think your opponent's going to do like a sweep or something, and you would normally do a hop kick. You can do this to collect a launch instead with Gigas. The combo off of this is a little bit unique. You don't get a spin, but so you have to do a little bit of a bootleg combo, but it works. So what you do is, it looks like this. And so what that is just the down forward 3 1 1+2 into down forward 3 1, which is this like refloat extension, and then you just do your normal down forward 3 1+2 1+2 combo ender. And this is the exact same combo that you have to do off of the next launcher I'm going to mention, which is this forward 1+2, which is a punishable but homing mid long range sort of gap closing launcher. And you do the same launcher off of, the same combo off of that. So let's show that. Like that. One thing I just need to mention about this combo is that it used to be believed that Gigas could not, because there's no spin, that he could not get a rage art in this combo, but he can, and I'm going to show you how to get your rage shard off of this combo. So what you do is, and that works really consistently. So what I did is I just did the normal, let's turn off rage, did the normal that for the launch, into the 1 for the refloat, and then I just did a normal 2-1 jab string to refloat them, and then that sets them up so that you can get your rage shard and make it hit really consistently. So down forward 3-1 for the refloat, and then 2-1, let's show it, and then rage shard, and that works. Okay, next thing we need to talk about, okay, let's talk about While Standing 3. While Standing 3 is your launcher from While Standing. He did not have this in before FR, which made him a lot weaker. It's a great buff that he got. Gigas was one of, I think maybe the only character in the game who could not launch from While Standing previously, and so they just realized that was kind of unfair, and they gave him this. Not only did they give him a While Standing launcher, they gave him an amazing one. I mean, this has great range, great damage, and it has a massive amount of knockback, meaning that a lot of the time it goes unpunished. Look at that knockback. It's fantastic, fantastic move. It's -12 on block, so I mean you're not even launch punishable or anything, but you can get punished for using it. But normally the knockback will just be massive enough that it doesn't really allow for it, which is so good. The only thing that is kind of a disadvantage with this move is that, you know, a lot of characters get their launcher from While Standing at 15, but this is an 18 frame move. That's not bad or anything, because normally you've ducked a high, or you've blocked something that is like -18, 19, 20, or even more, like a sweep when you launch from While Standing. And then there's definitely fast enough that it will do its job in those situations. Another thing you can do with this obviously is, you know, do like a Korean backdash cancel into a duck, and then look for a whiff and launch with this because of the good range. It's super solid, I really like it. And the combo I normally do is I just do that normal combo that I would do off of any standard launcher with Gigas, which is that. But you can do all of your options that I showed you off of down 2. It is the same kind of stuff. So you know, you can do this, or any of the other multiple options that I showed you. Great little launcher. The next thing we need to talk about, okay, let's talk about counter hit forward 2, which is this great counter hit fishing move that I talked about earlier that I think is one of his most important moves. And so what I do off of this is I just keep it simple. I just spin right away with forward to forward 1, and then I go straight into ground pounds. And if you look at the spin right here that I do after this, Josie's kind of at an awkward angle, meaning that a lot of other like setups I might have will actually end up being inconsistent because of the angle. But I think you can do, let's see. Yeah, you can still get that for a good little wall carry option, so that exists. So that's 4-2. The 4-2 forward 1 extension, I think what you want to do, let's see, just turn counter hit off here and do this. Okay. Yeah, you can do the exact same thing basically, but I think in this case you might actually be able to get better stuff. When I do this move, I always go straight into, even if this hits straight into this in the ground pounds, but that is not huge damage. As you can see, you get, what is it, 60? So 60 is still good, but I think it's actually possible to get more off of this. So that is something to check out, some combo videos maybe. I need to do that myself because there might actually be a much more optimal option there, but whatever, that's an option that you have. And then the next option I want to talk about, the next launcher I want to talk about, if we turn on counter hit again, is this move. Great little move. Up forward 3, it's the combo tool I showed you earlier, and it's also one of his like bootleg hop kicks. This only gives you a launch on counter hit. It has good range, it has good properties. Let's see, it's up forward 3, comes out at 20 frames, but it's only -3 on block, and it actually has some high crush frames. So very decent. And then the combo you do off of this is you just do your normal standard stuff. Normal standard stuff that you do off of the down 2. So same stuff again. Is that it for main launchers? Oh no, obviously we need to talk about the big one. Okay, so Gigas has this move. This is one of the most powerful launchers in the entire game, and it is absolutely crazy. The reason it's not it's dangerous to use is that it's 4-4-2 by the way. The 2 extension is high and so can be ducked. And so one way you murder noobs with Gigas when you play online is you do this move, and if they duck it or they deal with it somehow, then you're probably playing against a pretty good guy who knows about this string, and now you should be careful about using it because you can get launched. And you should only use it when you're trying to get a counter hit, because amazingly this is a natural combo on counter hit and it launches for 45 damage. It is the most powerful launcher that you have, and one of the most powerful launchers in the entire game. I mean, just look at this. Just that. Look at the life bar. Look at Josie's life bar. Like, this is crazy. It's so good. And you can do any kind of combo you want off of this. But just be aware that the extension can be ducked. So when you're using it against good people, you're mainly looking for that counter hit with the 4-4-4, which you can get because the 4-4-4 has really good a really good hitbox and is safe on block. So yeah, super good. And the 2 extension even crushes highs. So a lot of the time the opponent will block the 4, think it's their turn to attack, do a high like a jab or standing 4. You go under that and you just launch with a 2. Absolutely amazing and massive, and I use this a lot against people who are unprepared to get a great damage. You can do any kind of combo you want after this, but just to show you on counter hit, I mean, look at that damage I just did, 110. And I didn't even do the optimal wall ender. I mean, it is crazy, insane, and so much fun, and I love this with Gigas. And I'm pretty sure it's something he got new in FR. I didn't play him that much before FR, but I'm pretty sure he didn't have it before, so great addition. And then the other cool thing he got in FR that is also super amazing and super fun is Sidestep 2. Sidestep 2 is an evasive, safe launcher that has absolutely massive range. And so the way you use this is you can whiff punish from afar, or when you're up close, when you think your opponent's going to do like a 2-1 at the beginning of the round, you evade it and you launch with this. But it is high, making it duckable. And so the combo you have to do off of this is a little bit different. So the combo I do, it looks like this. Sorry, one more time. Okay, so that's just the 442 4-2 that I showed you, the launcher, for a follow-up, and then you finish with your normal generic combo ender. Wow, so we talked about all of his standard combos, I think. Well done if you made it this far. I'm just going to mention that if you really want to punish specifically 15 frames from while standing, because your while standing 3 is 18 and it won't work, the best option you have for 15 frames is while standing 2-3, which is a natural combo knockdown mid-string that is really good. Forgot to mention that, I'm sorry. Okay, let's get over to the wall so we can finally finish this up, because it's getting to be a little bit too long. I've mentioned time and time again that Gigas is amazing at the wall. He gets good damage and he has good wall splat options. His best option is 1-2, which is 10 frames but punishable, so be careful not to get it punished. But it's very, very fast, and so what you will do for a follow-up after this, my personal recommendation for best option is down forward 4 1+2, which is a great string that actually gives you some plus frames on block, so you can use this to set up wall splatting moves and counter hits as well. But this is just a super solid little option that will give you like 57, and then you can go into oaky, and it's really, really good. Another option you can use if you wall splat with a move that has less recovery than 1-2. Say for example you're out here and you wall splat with the 4-4-2, is you can do a single jab into that and you get a little bit more damage. Another option you can do when you have the time, it won't work off of this, but it will work off of this, is you can do your air throw, and so that'll connect, and it's really, really good. 57 damage, super solid. Your normal generic combo ender, down for 3 1+2 1+2 will also work, but this is not optimal for damage. And then the final option that a lot of people use that is very good is you can do a forward 2 empty 1 into a wrench kick, which I think is actually going to be your optimal option. So let's see if we can get that. This is not something I use, but it is good. Okay, one more time. Okay, so I was wrong. What you need to do for it to work is you don't do a standing 4, you actually do a standing 3. The standing 3 is slightly faster, and so that connects. So as you can see, that's 64 damage. So this is your highest damage option. But the reason to use this, why I think this is good, is if you end up at kind of like an awkward angle like that, and you get a wall splat, this is one of those strings that will actually knock Josie like along the wall, and so it's very consistent at an angle, whereas this might not actually work a lot of the time at an angle. It becomes inconsistent because, you know, Tekken and wall angles, it's very specific. Okay, so the final thing we need to talk about before we end this is obviously Gigas' like signature move and the most damaging tool that he has near the wall, the overkill throw. So I'm doing this on a control pad right now, and I'm not good at doing overkills on pads, so I'm sorry if they don't come out as they should, you know, on the first try. But we're gonna see if we can show you a couple here. Okay, right there. So that's overkill. As you can see, massive, massive damage, and it only does, you know, that amount of damage at the wall. As you can see, I did it out of a low because I typically used to like to buffer overkill to get it out of some sort of other move, and it's very rare for me that I do overkill just naked out of nothing. I'll do it out of a normal jab, out of a down 3, or out of a down back, like that. Sorry, a down back 2, like that I should say. Or down 3 works, like that. And as you can see on Josie's health bar, this is absolutely massive. It does above average damage for a throw when you're out in the open, and so there's no reason not to use this amazing throw as a normal like throw mix-up, because it's the best throw he has. And so you don't need to like obsess about the wall when it comes to this throw, but I just thought when I talk about it, I should talk about it when I'm at the wall, because as you can see, that's so crazy. And it makes him so scary because people are going to be aware of the fact that he has this really scary throw at the wall, which means that they are more liable to like duck and stuff unnecessarily. And so your opponent, they're super nervous about the fact that this move is great at the wall. They're nervous about the fact that they can't get anything punishable blocked because your 10 frame, your fastest block punisher, will wall splat. You have that amazing overkill throw that's going to do like massive damage. I mean, enough damage to steal the round most of the time. And so you're just a beast at the wall. And the last thing to just show you one more time, I guess, is the fact that the Goliath setups are amazing at the wall. Because both options will wall splat and one of them is completely unblockable. I was just a little bit slow on the follow-up there. So let's do it one more time here. Yeah. Alright, so that's going to wrap up my guide for Gigas. I mean, I could have gone into more stuff and done this for like 3 hours, but I hope I actually managed to get this in slightly under 1. There's enough to be said about him, but this will get you started with the character, I hope. If you heard anything that you think is inconsistent or incorrect, please let me know in the comments and inform everybody. I hope it was useful, and I loved making this, and I love talking about this character. I recommend him to everybody, and I hope you give him a chance and try him out, because he is so much fun and such a great design. But lots of love, guys. I really enjoy making all these guides for you. I'm having so much fun. And there's going to be a new video, I think by the end of today, or maybe by tomorrow afternoon. So look out for that. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.